Say what? Look. I'm on tour right now.
It's the New OGs. The New OGs is a State Madison entertainment production and it's brought to you by Solar Masters. Look, Illinois is changing how people get their electricity, and Solar Masters is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, you can raise the value of your home, and you can do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so. In fact, Solar Masters can only work with you if they can save you money. Solar Masters is a Black-owned company and a SunPower dealer, an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience. They even have a referral program that pays out as much as $500 per referral. So head over to www.gosolarmasters.com.
Bubby!
Yes, sir.
Bubby!
Yeah.
I made a mistake and started chewing food before we started the show. I thought
That is not a new thing for you.
I thought I was going to be done.
This is not the first time you started talking, and then whatever you're doing before you started talking has interrupted you before even I could.
Because I'm not professional, Bobby. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, I got answers for your questions.
It sounds like you told these people,
yeah,
if they go solar, they can save real money every single month on their electric bill.
They can, yeah, that's a real. If they qualify for it, they can save money. Yeah,
they can help save South Beach from being an underwater theme park.
They could hopefully help save. I mean, what an amazing, feather to put in your cap, right? Like, put that on your gravestone.
And if they refer somebody, even if they don't have a roof of their own, but the other person does, and they go solar, $500 every time?
Yeah, $500 for every one of those, and up to $20,000 tax-free if they do that digitally through the advocate program that you got there.
Man, this is a good deal. I feel like the fanfare is overdue. Like if you don't want $500 extra dollars with you, I just told you can save South Beach. Do something. Get the goddamn solar, man. Come on.
Well, listen, if looking at people in bikinis on South Beach is super important to you, get over to www.gosolarmasters.com, get in contact for a free consultation or to refer someone that you know. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy. People of Comedy is a network that we are on right now. Shout out to Jay Webb.
Hey, Webb, love shout outs.
He's putting in an amazing amount of work over these last few months. Recently highlighted an article about some of the stuff that's been going on. Over 30 different podcasts launched on the network, I think, since maybe a year before the pandemic, 2019 or something like that. Yeah. Live shows galore, just for laughs, all types of stuff. James Webb is everywhere. So get over to People of Comedy Network. Check out the podcast they've got going on. There's always some new great shit jumping off there. So get there and check them out wherever you listen to pods. XL, my man, how are you?
I'm groovy, man. I am groovy. I had, it's starting to get a little bit back in the swing of things. Did a lot of comedy stuff this week. This is my most comedy week since the pandemic last year. I did a couple shows. I produced a show. Got to shoot a video with two very, very funny comedians, and my producer, and had a good fucking week, man.
Yeah, man, you had a lot going on. It was big. I also have started to get back out. I have learned that I definitely do hate everything I've ever said on stage before the pandemic. I'm like, oh, okay, well, the shit that hits the best is anything I've added to the shit that was good already. We did a show last night, and I realized that young people don't know who Malcolm Gladwell is. That was a lesson I learned last night. Last night's lesson was, I have a bit, and it doesn't matter. I'll tell you what I said because, I don't have a special out, and who knows if that happens. So I had a bit where I was talking about how, people refer to me as surprise black. Like if Malcolm Gladwell had gone to MMA instead of social sciences. And everybody just kind of looked at me like, we don't know who the fuck Malcolm Gladwell is.
Actually, first of all, let me just say that is a very funny thought. Somebody beat the piss out of Malcolm Gladwell.
Now, did Malcolm Gladwell do something to you, or you just think it's funny for nerds?
I just think seeing somebody so smart and willowy without a care in the world get beat the fuck up would be kind of funny.
So it's like, they were just like, and I was like, you guys don't know Malcolm Gladwell? And they were like, one person was like, I do. And everybody else was like, I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Talk about weed, nigga. And I was like, all right, let's talk about
You was like, I'd love to.
right? Yeah, right. Kristen Toomey, of course, killed because she always does. Matt Drufke was out. I mean, Kristen Toomey is a fucking monster.
She's a monster.
She will say something that is like she will throw out a line about like a current thing going on, and then will say something that's so completely wild as fuck that someone in the audience responds, and then she will ride that for like 6 or 7 minutes. You know what I mean? Just riff after interaction, and then another riff, and somebody says something wild and interact. I mean, and she'll just like just straight you, and it's impossible it was written because there is no like other than the formula of being able to have that ability to do that, there's nothing else that has to go on. She can go up there with 2 or 3 notes and just.
I was at one time last night, obviously phenomenal as usual. I remember one time I was at North Bar, and like me, Kilgallen, a bunch of other vet comics, not newbies, like vets and stuff. Kristen performed. She did like 10 minutes. She opened for Louis C.K. like that weekend, and people were giving her shit about opening for Louis C.K. And off the top of her head, she just starts going like, you know, like he did some freaky shit. And, you know, the 20-year-olds that are talking shit, you know, fuck you. Live some life. After you've had some life experiences, maybe in 15 years, you want to show somebody your privates just to make you happy a little bit. Back the fuck up. So, like, it was, I'm not.
Let's say for the record, that is not verbatim. That is why.
That's not verbatim.
That's why I avoided going into a bit from last night, because I'm like, I'm not taking any for any of this.
But that's not verbatim. The bit was funny. Whatever. What she said was funny. And it was like you said, it was like 5 or 6 minutes that you could tell it was very, very fresh. And I just assumed it was something like, okay, she's working on this material because people were fucking with her about it. So she did that. She had to take off. She had another set. And I happened to think she had to stay with her the next day. And afterwards, me and Joe and all of us, the way I brought up all of them, everybody was like, that was fucking amazing. Oh my God, when the fuck did she write that? She just got that gig. How the fuck did she write that? So I happened to see her the next day, and I told her how everybody was gushing, and look, when did she write that bit? And she had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. It was literally something in the moment that pissed her off, and she just went into a rage. And it was
that girl is so brilliant. Her brilliance is so deep in that pain she feels. And when she let that pain go, baby, it is amazing.
And she's got good written shit too. Like I've seen her do the same. I've seen her do jokes that I've seen her do before, right? It's not like I haven't seen her, but I've also seen her just start going off on some shit.
And also the magic of it is, I'm sure there's the stuff that she's thought about. Like I'm not trying to just make she's off top of her head comic, but the trick of it is to make when you can fool other comics and make me like, did she just make that shit up? That's game.
I mean, it's thoughts that she's had, but it's not necessarily shit she said on a stage before. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I'm sure she's home and she's got these thoughts in her head, and then she gets out there and someone opens up the door for her to be like, boom, here's that thought I had. I'm just going to release this.
Is exactly how it happens.
Yeah,
that is exactly. I'm sorry. Last night,
you're right.
Last night I was at let me give a shout out to Duran Howard.
Duran Howard loves shout outs.
Man, this dude, this guy has lived life to a level that most of us will only dream of. And I'm talking to a nigga that played basketball. You understand what I'm saying? Right? This dude he has friends who live on the beach, the actual beach. You walk out the back door and there's sand and shit. There's nobody between them.
Like in the LA area, right? You're out
absolutely. And there was a party there last night. And it was like one of my first weird ass Hollywood parties, right? And when I
by weird you mean mostly white people? Is that
almost totally white people? Totally white people.
Nothing strange happened. It was just almost all white people, and that is weird for Rob Hines.
If it's almost all white people, something strange happened. Like party almost all white people.
Hey,
in America,
it was strange shit going on, but no one was unhappy. You know what I'm saying? It was a weird energy because everybody's back out and celebrating being out of the pandemic, and people are trying to learn how to interact with each other, and they are just touchy feely, like, oh my God, I am so glad to have another human in my presence. And it was obvious. And me being one of the few black people, I was like tired of white folks touching on me. Dude, it was incredible. I felt like Webster in that motherfucker. Shit. Like, it was crazy. But I did a joke last night, guys.
Like Webster.
Yeah, you know how they pat about the head shit. I like
I knew exactly what you meant. Yeah.
I did this joke that this lady gave me some nice little bud and it was just right. And I said some shit last night that I was like, oh shit, I done walked out here now. I'm 2 seconds from canceled. I was like, this dude started yelling at me some shit. I was like, sir, could you not talk? I'm trying to, whatever I said to him. And he was trying to, rebuke me. And I was like, listen, shut up. This is not how rape works. This is what I say to the dude. And then I go, be still and just let it be over real quick and try to think of the queen or something. And the crowd went crazy. I was like, phew. Man, it was crazy. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. And people are ready to be out.
They're looking for that nigga. They weren't looking for. I mean, you gotta remember, you're a Duran spot, right? Like you weren't.
Yeah, that is a Duran spot too. And Duran was slaying their ass, and then he was MCing. And there's some really funny little dudes around here, man. I'm saying, like, these guys are Hollywood ready. They got a nice little swing to them, and they look good, and they still young. One of these dudes I saw last night, I know he's finna be on TV.
That's amazing. We did the show last night. I got banned from Facebook this morning. Got a 3-day whammy from the Zuck motherfucker.
Was for such stupid shit. It wasn't even like remotely. I can't believe you got banned for that.
Yeah. So on the 16th, today's the 21st. On the 16th, I wrote a joke on Facebook that said, it basically said, y'all, the last 14 months, the CDC is a bunch of liars who probably created the virus in China so they could ruin small businesses and force us into Sharia law through mask wearing. Y'all getting told you can't enter Costco without a mask today, but the CDC said so. It was a joke. It's literally just making fun of people who are wishy-washy on whether they want to listen to the CDC or not. They call them liars for 14 months, and now they're relying on them to try and argue. Yeah. I mean, it's just a dumb. I get on today.
Rick Schroeder. You're making fun of Rick Schroeder.
Yeah, make fun of Rick Schroeder. I get on today 5 days later, and I get a 3-day ban for posting misinformation about the CDC.
So I wonder that there's 1 of 3 ways that happens. That is actual Facebook algorithm or whatever, or some asshole reported it because they didn't get the joke.
It's algorithm. It's totally algorithm. I can't
believe that didn't get okayed on appeal though. Like,
I appealed it, and who knows? Like, here's my problem with Facebook. Okay, and like, it's also my problem with Twitter and Instagram. Like the main social media sites, this is my problem with them. Is that if I have a problem with like my fiber internet, right? I have a business card for the cat who was here when they installed it. I can text you and be like, yo, what the fuck? There's some shit going on, right? Yeah. If I have a problem with Amazon, I can get on a chat and there's at least a humanistic robot on the other side where I can have an interaction that will get me to some kind of desired result in the end, right? Mm-hmm. When I get a ban on Facebook, I get to click a button that says dispute this ban or not dispute this ban, and that's it. And then you just wait for, I don't know, is it a person? Is it just another algorithm it goes? Who the fuck even knows what the fuck happens after that goes on? And like, I get they have a lot of people that use the system or whatever, and there's probably a problem if you're banning so many people for shit that you don't have enough human beings that can keep up with all the bans going on. That might be an issue with this thing that you're putting out in the world. If you got so many bans you're handing out that you don't have enough human beings that can actually get to like an interaction for a resolution. Because I don't see how any human could read what I wrote and be like, yeah, you were intentionally trying to deceive people about what the CDC's guidelines are.
Yeah, dude, I've had Facebook send me that recently. That's why I kept asking like the appeal. I've had them ban me, or not ban me, but threaten to ban me for something that I posted, but didn't show me what I posted. Just said item you posted was against my body, and I'm like trying to click to see like, well, what was the thing I posted? Because I was like, I post crazy shit. I'm high a lot, man. I was like, Did I post something that was more risque than I thought it was? And so I just say I deny that I did it, and then nothing happens. That's happened twice in like the last 3 or 4 months.
You'll see on our promo, like our cover art shit for the show, I only will put the logo for Twitch and YouTube on there. And I used to put the Facebook Live logo on there, but I've tried boosting posts on Facebook that have gotten rejected because I didn't use the right size Facebook logo compared to the size of the graphic that I was trying to post. They would not let me boost the ad to get more people to look at a video that was going to be on Facebook because I didn't size my logo to the right percentage of the actual picture for Facebook, the Facebook logo.
Yeah,
like,
I don't really
like, listen, we know you're trying to advertise on our site, and you're actually using our own logo as part of the advertisement, but we don't like it, so we're not going to let you advertise us or our logo on the site. So, like, but again, that whole problem is like, there's no human being to talk to. There's nobody you can actually be like, help me understand what you're saying. It's just like, here's an instruction. Here's why you failed. You can try it again and then wait 2 more days and you might fail again. But if you're trying to promote something that's time sensitive at all, you can fucking forget about it. It's not the place for that.
In addition to that, there's racism in the programming, right? The way that the algorithm works is racist essentially. And so if you use a certain group of words, they're gonna be like, oh, nigger, pop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like that. Like, it's just in the rhythm and the way you speak. They didn't figure that out too. And it's based on the way it's programmed, you know. So I don't really mess with Facebook a whole lot. That one time they banned me, I was like, you know what? These people have banned me for stuff that I shared from their platform.
Right.
I'm like, well, wait a minute. I got this shit from you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. I mean, I woke up and I was mad about it because obviously it's Friday and today's the day when we're trying to fucking, you know, get everybody over to the show when we do all our promo shit. Like, I couldn't post any of the pages. I couldn't do any of that shit. I tried to make people editors so they could post it on. They couldn't get shit posted anywhere. Like, I was just like, and then I'm mad because I'm mad about it because I'm like, I feel the same way, Rob. I'm gonna be like, fuck y'all. But like, also, I mean, you at times have benefited me promote the show. Like, I've gotten things, you know, this is where I do handle gigs. Like
Tanzania, Algeria,
love shout outs, Algeria love shout outs,
and wherever else love shout outs.
You know, it's been a part of how we've been able to build a fan base. But I think there are rejections of things which would only bring more people to look at their fucking website has also inhibited us from trying to expand that at certain times, or at least slow down the attempts, as feeble as they may be from us, to try and make them happen.
It's real, man. Like, how the hell are we supposed to let the people of the Sudan or Guyana know that a new OG hot episode is coming? Because these motherfuckers keep fucking up our promos.
Places in the Sudan and Ghana have been big on cryptocurrency because it is a way to get away from the banks and do what they're going with. Cryptocurrency is tanking big time though after a couple of big hits. Elon Musk, after a less than outstanding performance on Saturday Night Live, or less than loved performance by a lot of his critics on Saturday Night Live, also decided that Tesla for right now is going to stop taking Bitcoin. Because of concerns about its damage to the environment, which sent Bitcoin through the floor along with a lot of other cryptocurrencies. Doggy coin, and not through. I mean, Bitcoin's down to like it's still like 40. What is it? 42,000 right now. Where's it at, James?
It is. Hang on, let me pull it up really quick. I was literally just looking at it. Hold on.
Now it was tipping 60 at one point. 60,000 per Bitcoin.
I think it got to 62 at its peak.
Oh, did it? 62. Okay.
Bitcoin is currently sitting at 35 and
35.
Yeah. Okay, that's lower than it was.
That's a big drop.
It's a huge drop.
Almost half. What about Doge?
Doggy. I mean, so everything's kind of falling together at the same rate because of the China thing. It's all like, all crypto is bad.
The other issue is that China has vowed to crack down on Bitcoin mining and trading activities because they're trying to fend off financial risk, which of course, yeah, of course, China, the place who is very much singular in how they run their government, right? Like there's the idea of anybody fucking with China's financial system is enough for China to be like, nope, not happening. The idea of like free or open banking is not really the Chinese way.
Nope, we're gonna shut all this shit down. You get nothing.
Yeah, and so obviously, if you create a way for people who may be against your way of running things in China, if you permit those people to amass enough money through Bitcoin mining, at some point they have enough money to hire people to come and remove you from that powerful seat, which is, I think, the overall concern against this shit already. Like, at first, I think the thing was like, a couple people made a couple bucks on this whole Bitcoin idea. It's fun. It's interesting. The rich people are making money too. Who cares? Like, whatever. And then something happened where they were just like somehow the numbers must have come in on how many like crypto millionaires had been.
There you go, Bobby. Now you're getting it.
And the banks were like,
be rich.
Somebody who's good at managing how numbers work looked at the total number of new millionaires that were coming from cryptocurrency and how that was affecting some banking number. There's some rhythm, just like Zuck, they got some rhythm going, right? Some rhythm of whatever hit a number, and they're like, all right, hack it off. So you got to take this motherfucker right now.
400 years, baby. 400 years. These people know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, it is a lie of capitalism, right? That like,
well, now to be fair to capitalism, this is one of the problems that I've always had with the Bitcoin and any digital cryptocurrency is that one market thing like that has nothing to do with the actual value of the currency makes it invaluable because there's nothing that really tied to it to create the value. I know people say that about the dollar, but as I always say, the dollar has the U.S. military. The dollar has the, you go take this shit because we said so behind it, and Bitcoin doesn't. I'm not against Bitcoin. You guys know I dipped all into the Doge and Doggy Doge, whatever, and all that stuff. And so I am 100% agreement with you. That is definitely new millionaires that made the old millionaires go, whoa, whoa. I mean, but that's also was my fear with it, that eventually at some point the casino was going to shut down the fucking table for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you only in that the idea of like, by you saying the problem with Bitcoin is that there is no military to fight the military that is behind taking it down. Like, I mean, the banks are essentially the military in this case, backed by the United States or by whatever countries that are.
Yeah, but why do you think we keep buying so many guns? Because to back up them banks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the dollar itself is based on virtually nothing. I've been reading a lot about the modern monetary theory lately, which has changed my idea of tying taxing anybody to giving money.
Like, oh wow, you're like anti-tax altogether?
No, I mean, like, you can keep the tax there going, but like this idea that you need to tax the wealthy so that you can actually scrape out the money that you're going to then redistribute is not as necessary, I think, as people make it. Like, keep it. I mean, you want to tax 21%, don't want to take it to 28%? Okay, fuck it. We're going to give these people money though, whether we like, because here's the thing. Like, the reason what happened to like places like Greece and places like that is they were on the euro, so they couldn't just go make more money. But countries like Japan and Australia and Japan's running at a deficit for 30 years, a big one. They don't give a fuck because you're. Like you said, the military backs the money. Yeah. They've not had an inflation problem either for those 30 years. Like that, exactly. It's a lie because it's your money. You decide what it's. I mean, you are essentially deciding its value. You know,
right, because whoever you owe, they steal you.
Right? You know yeah. Like my whole thing is like if they can't get a tax on the wealthy raised, then pass the spending as a deficit spend and say fuck it then. Which is a whole nother story.
That's when you run into the actual fact. And the actual fact is they don't want you to have shit.
Right. That's why they try and tie it together, right?
Bobby, I can't remember when exactly.
Finally got to the real discussion.
I think it happened on this show where like I realized that my degree, all the shit that they had taught me about the deficit and like what government spending and shit, what that was supposed to mean was complete bullshit. Because I looked up the national deficit and realized that it was $20 trillion more than it was when I graduated college, and nothing had changed.
Yeah,
not a single fucking thing in my life had changed as far as like
the dollar's still valuable.
Yeah. Americans aren't randomly sucking dick unless they choose to.
China is not taking over, nor will they. That's not how that works either. You know what
our position in the world has the only damage to the position. Our position in the world was having a stupid white dude that was arrogant and crooked in charge for 4 years. But as for the deficit shit, nothing changed.
I beg to differ.
It's all bullshit.
I beg to differ.
What's another $2 trillion right now? You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? Just give the people money. Who gives a fuck?
What'd you say, Rob? About
I just think he wasn't like it wasn't like it was the first time a stupid white dude was the president. That's all.
No. But this motherfucker was so.
He means from the time he was in college.
He made George Bush likable. That's how bad he was. He made George Bush
seriously. That
again.
is fucked up because I remember when George Bush was leaving office, we were like, Obama's obviously going to have to go put this nigga in jail, right?
Yeah.
Remember when Obama was coming in? Everybody was like, obviously this dude's a war criminal. We're gonna and now people were excited to see him and Michelle sharing candies at motherfucking funerals and shit.
John McCain didn't even have George Bush, the sitting fucking president, campaign for him. The sitting president didn't campaign for him in the GOP. That's how fucking bad George Bush was. And now that motherfucker George is back. Like George had to be watching Trump just like, they're gonna forget about that Iraq
my
shit.
heart, man. That shit breaks my
well,
heart.
People are longing.
I know that Trump was horrible. I know that this dude was horrible. And I know that he was one of the worst ever. I get all of that. But think about how many people W let die over some bullshit. So
Katrina, 9/11.
Man,
9/11, they literally ignored. But just go back to the very first thing. They ignored. There's evidence that they ignored fucking information about Arabs trying to, or specific terrorists trying to run planes into buildings and shit. They had a report that said they're learning how to fly, but they don't want to learn how to land a plane. And nobody thought that was like a thing to look at.
Whether that's an error of commission or omission, it's still an error, right? Like it doesn't make any difference. Like whether you were too stupid, whether you were too stupid to know better, or whether you knew better, that is not really an excuse the situation when it comes down to the lives. Yeah, but now it's like,
even Dick Cheney has been somewhat rehabilitated.
Only through his daughter.
All right.
But he is a statesman in the fucking party when he should be a war criminal.
Well, this was that was the era of compassionate conservatism, quote unquote. But that's what they called it, right? Like George Bush was from Texas. Like the idea of Hispanics in Texas and Hispanics in other places were way different. The dude, like when the whole thing, and I just heard this on something I was the other day, but like the whole difference between why they aren't electing Republican governors in California and why they can only elect Republican governors in Texas is because when Bush was the governor in Texas, he integrated hard. He tried to learn Spanish. He welcomed people in. And back at the same time, there's a Republican governor in California, and that dude said that they just keep coming. Like they were fucking, like they were animals. And ever since that point, Republicans have not been able to get wins in California. And so that is that is what George Bush was, is that he got 42% of the Hispanic vote, man. This dude was a monster when it came to like giving the appearance that he didn't have a problem with people of color, even if his policies did. Right. And so Trump was so bad that people are longing for even that. Like, even make it seem like you like us more than.
That's why I was thankful. I'm like, tell the truth. Listen, I was thankful. The one thing Trump gave me was hope, because when he told the truth of what America was, it was people in the streets like, you know what? This is some bullshit. Now, at first, I was with you all the way up until here, and then all of us is looking like, why was you with him up to there? Shit, we should have been back here when we told you how fucked up it was. But at least it is starting to be.
Even the shit with Liz Cheney, as much as I like watching the drama of the GOP fighting over their dumb bullshit, the fact that like, this is what was the breaking point. Bitch, what was the breaking point when this motherfucker lied 20,000 times before that?
They're always
like, how do you get mad about this lie and expect people to stand up to this lie after you supported 20,000 before that?
Somebody who's dealing with some lies, it's starting to come out that Bill Gates, his meetings with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein were a sore spot for Melinda Gates. Surprise, surprise.
What do you know?
Yes.
It's I guess it's something that fostered for a long time. I think there was an affair that he had years ago. Now, here's a funny thing: is like all this shit is starting to come about how he was he'd been hitting on multiple women or whatever, right? Like he had some risky behavior far before that. There's like 6 other women who claim that he's like invited them out for dinner at times and shit. All Microsoft employees, obviously. But I mean, do you guys know where he met Melinda Gates?
Yeah. That's what I was just about to say.
I don't.
She was an employee at Microsoft.
Yeah. And I remember when I was younger hearing their story of how they met, and they made it sound like she was in the garage with the nigga or something, and like it was a love, like, you know what I'm saying, how that, like they do in the movies where it's like the 2 nerds that are friends and they, and then all of a sudden they realize they love each other.
Right.
I thought it was more organic like that, not that she was an employee when the shit was already a thing.
Yeah.
And he did the thing that every fucking dude does that has a thing, hits on the attractive woman that works for him. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up. Bill Gates is losing, I defended this motherfucker through the whole vaccine shit and all this stuff about him not being this crazy, trying to take over the world dude with the vaccine. And now all this shit's coming out. And I'm like, God damn it, dude. It has nothing to do with how I feel about the vaccine, but it has everything to do with how I feel about him.
Well, that is a problem, is that Tucker Carlson's trying to use that, obviously, this whole Gates and Epstein thing to try and, it's just going to push more people into QAnon. Because, I mean, he said that he had this quote the other day. It said, just days after Bill Gates told us on Twitter that he was getting a divorce, there's new information about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And then he goes, like those conspiracy theorists say, a small group of really powerful people control the world and have an interest in little kids. It's just a conspiracy theory, which is not helping. You know what I mean? Like,
and where's the little kids coming from?
It's Jeffrey Epstein. And all these
people. Hey, I mean, listen, hey man, I understand exactly what you guys are saying, right? But I'm just, and I'm not saying I don't give a fuck about Bill Gates. I don't give a fuck about none of them, as you well know. But I'm just saying, from the perspective of let's look at both sides. You got $1 bazillion. You are actually a king, and there's hungry people everywhere. So the amount of people that you let in your circle can't be that big. Like, I mean, I know that he goes out and speaks in public, and that makes his circle larger in that way. But your interpersonal relationships can't be that many, right? So when he go out and meet people, they probably got to be people that work for him, especially when you work that hard. Now, I'm not saying he right in none of that. I'm just saying it just seems to me it would be hard for you not to do what y'all saying. You know what I mean? If you like, unless you just gonna go out to the club and worry about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you gonna meet people at?
I mean, when the problem is you can't be the owner of the company because power dynamics are a problem.
I get that.
You gotta go meet a broke bitch someplace else.
Yeah, or find a bitch who works at Apple or some shit.
Go meet a broke bitch that work at another company.
Like you're like, what are you gonna do? Go out to the club? Yeah, nigga, you gotta go out to the club. Like you can't have somebody who's an employee of yours be someone you start dating. It is a recipe for nothing. But I mean, people in comedy don't date each other, and neither of them work for each other just because of the problems that arise from that. But the potential lawsuit that can come from dating an underling of yours, you know what I mean? Not only from her, but from other people who work there, from other people. She gets mad at somebody else. She wants you to fire them. They get fired. Now what happens? Now they got a lawsuit against your whole fucking company because your girlfriend got mad at them. That's some shit you do not want to deal with. $1 billion, multi-billion dollar, $1 trillion company. I'm not the shit you should be running with.
Also, it creates a real bad situation in that if all your other employees see that your girlfriend is an employee, anything that she does, obviously that they're going to taint whatever she does. But other women there are going to assume that, oh, I got to suck his dick to get ahead in this motherfucker. And
Rob's like, yeah.
You're going to create an environment where you're like
trying to get ahead, or you trying to get some head? What you trying to do?
Y'all gonna quit doing this shit.
I love it. I love it.
You know who else has quit doing shit? Israel and Palestine. They have cooled out. They are gonna fucking take a chill pill for a minute. At least that's the claim. The escape artist is back. Biden, it's weird because I would think the last thing that old BB would want to do is make Biden look good, but Biden, was basically like Israel needs to call for a ceasefire, and then they went for a ceasefire, which is
so there's one or two things. Either Israel had achieved their goals and told America that they was going to stop firing anyway. And
their bell went off at 2,000 deaths, or was it did they have a 70 kid? Did they have a 70 child limit on their?
So according to Israel on this, there were strategic things that they were trying to do to limit what Hamas could do Hamas could do offensively. And they said when they reached that goal, that's when they would stop. So what I'm saying is there's a chance that they reached that goal and knew that they were going to reach that goal by this time and said, hey, America, we're going to stop shooting at 2:00. And Joe was like, okay, at 1:30, I'm going to tell these niggas to stop shooting.
Yeah, they did have some heated conversations. I had heard they had some, or they wanted to make it sound like Biden was upset with this nigga.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you get the news story that comes out. Like first of all, obviously there's a lot of Judaism on the show here, but like I think one of the things that's become clear as time has gone on with this is that, and you've seen a lot of people who are way more famously Jewish than we are that are out there saying like you have to be able to separate being Jewish from what the Israeli government is doing right now and be able to look at those things separately, which we talked about before. Yeah. Obviously, I think, what shouldn't happen from it is the anti-Semitism that's happening to people who aren't there or anywhere, but like specifically like there's shit going on here now where like, shit's happening. Shit's happening in France. It's like, no, just because Israel's doing something fucked up, that's like if Afghanistan does something fucked up and all of a sudden we started just whooping Afghani's ass over here. Like that's not solved. That's not how that works. Yeah.
That would be like Lori Lightfoot announces she's only talking to black reporters, and then white people stop talking to me. Like shit. I'm not doing anything with Lori Lightfoot.
That is a thing she announced, by the way, that she's about to on the anniversary of her election. She's only planning on talking to black and brown people.
I thought it was a hustle until I found out that there are no black or brown reporters in her press corps. There's not a single black or brown reporter.
Really?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. So that changed.
Now I got a whole new opinion of it. Now I'm like, okay, Lori, I can feel this now.
Yeah, there's not a single black or brown person covering her in a city that's got to be 60 to 65% black and brown.
She pulled me back in. See, they had me in the first half, y'all. They had me in the first half.
I like the feeling. I know what you're saying. They had me at first. Yes.
Because I was like, fuck a Lori Lightfoot. I mean,
and this is the importance of black media, because I only found that out because I listened to black AM radio here that was talking politics, and it was weird too. I just happened to throw it on, and they were talking. They had Clarence Page, the OG dude, used to be out of Chicago. He's a national reporter now. And he was talking about how it's ridiculous that there's not a single person of color covering a mayor of color in a city that I don't know. When I said the demographics of Chicago is 60% people of color, yeah, I stand by that. I don't know exactly what it is. Somebody can look it up, but I have to imagine it's got to be close to what it is. Like people, not saying black or Hispanic.
30.1.
31.1% is people of color.
Yeah. No, black. Sorry.
Oh yeah. The other 30, it's got to be like another 30% Hispanic and other, right?
Let's see.
We are a very diverse city, even though it's segregated. It's very diverse.
There's not really like a people of color number that they just give. They should give that.
What about people of comedy?
It's 28% Hispanic or Latino though.
Oh, so I was like right on.
So yeah, you're
28 plus 31.
You're at 60% right there. Yeah. Just on black and Hispanic. We haven't
that's accurate. We have a large Asian community as well. So like how, and there's not a single person of color covering her. With like there's not like in the room covering her. That's insane.
Now I'm a lot more on the side of Lori Lightfoot's take on this whole deal. It's weird, man. The other part, that's the thing is like that information comes out from the wrong sources, and then you end up just being like, I guess that's some fucked up shit this lady did. And the sources are so vital. Like even with the Israel Palestine shit, like I don't want to like if you got a representative from Israel coming on, of course I know what they're going to be talking about. I know what they're going to be saying. But when you look at the numbers, and there's 2,000 plus dead Palestinians and 100 dead Israelis, it's like, who's the bully? Who's bullying?
We already know who the bully is and why. But here's what I think was interesting. What I think was interesting is that America was like, we not finna tell y'all shit about what's going on with us and Israel, right? So like when the Security Council like, hey man, people getting killed. It's a fucking humanitarian, crisis. And America like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm not listening to you. Hey man, cut that shit out. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened. And so what actually happened is they put them in the position where, look, if y'all don't stop this bullshit, we're going to have to holler at you. And then Israel, check this out. And then Israel was like, okay, well, give us an out. And America was like, tell me you got what you wanted. You know how when you would holler at a girl and she'd be nice to you that one time and she didn't do it again? I got what I wanted. That's where Israel walked away. I got what I wanted.
Well, what they're getting is a $735 million arms deal. I think that's what they're. Yeah. I think that's what it's about. I think they want to get that. And they're, of course, people with Sandy like AOC and Bernie Sanders, Jewish, by the way, trying to stop it. You know what I mean? But they're going to push that through because that's the bargain of the deal that's going on. So they can be ready for whatever the next time is. They can strengthen their Iron Dome or whatever. Back here, we still have issues going on. There was this great idea to put together a whole 9/11 style commission to go over January 6th and look at everything that happened and see who is going to have to do what. And then Big Daddy Trump, who still runs the GQP, said that, a commission would be a bad idea because, heaven forbid, certain GOP members might have to testify about what happened that day. And, the last thing that dude could use is some truth. And so he said it was a bad idea. And then House Leader McCarthy said it was a bad idea. And but they got 35 votes from Republicans for that commission from the House.
How the hell?
Which is amazing, by the way, considering where the politics are right now.
Yeah, because there was 35 people in that had the courage to just say, how the hell do you vote against a non-partisan commission? Like a non-partisan commission. You are voting against a neutral arbiter of what happened. Like that's only a guilty person. There's no rational reason to not want to have a neutral.
Remember, they were the ones who were claiming for a while that it must have been Antifa or BLM who was breaking through to stop the vote to make Biden president.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense. But if it was them, shouldn't we find out? Shouldn't we see exactly who is behind it? If we're so unsure about who's behind it, should we find out exactly who we should be going after?
I could say if there was if it was a bias, like if it was led by one side, or if they were looking at something that wasn't like that we didn't witness, that everybody knows happened. If it was some bullshit like that, like they had with Hillary Clinton, there was I think 5 different investigations into Benghazi after everybody knew what fucking happened after the first one. But
you know what they did though? They complied.
Yeah.
They complied. They gave up all the information they had to give up.
Because that's what I'm saying. Only a guilty person looks at a neutral body that you get to help pick the people who are on to make sure that it's neutral, and goes, nah, we don't need that. Like, because what fucking other reason was something like this where you got attacked? Your house got robbed, and you're arguing with the police about how they're going to investigate it, or if they're going to investigate it.
Well, this is like if you ask Brutus if he wanted to start a commission over who killed Caesar. And he's like, nah, we good.
As a storyteller and an entertainer, I find this shit amazingly entertaining. Let me tell you something, man. These people said we want to negotiate with the president to decide how this thing is going to be set up. And the president like, okay, cool. Go down there and talk to them motherfuckers. So they go over and talk to him, and he's like, what you want? We want bloody, 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 and bloody. Okay. And then it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Give us bloody. Yeah, we got all that shit. Now let's go investigate. And then McCarthy comes back, and they said, they gave us everything we wanted. He's like, what? They gave us all that shit? He's like, yeah, they gave it all to us. I still can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Because he know what's about to happen.
Because the shit was never in good faith, because this motherfucker, Kevin McCarthy specifically, he's going to have to testify that this Trump didn't give a fuck about what was happening. Other people are going to have to testify. Hawley's going to have to testify. What did he mean when he threw the fist up in the air when they were marching over to the fucking Capitol? Cruz is going to have to testify.
One quick point. Isn't it amazing how the police don't tell on the motherfucking police? Tell me how this is any different than on the street. This is the same bullshit. They don't want you to know.
This is something that I haven't said because we're gonna get, if anybody's watching this shit, we're gonna get letters. We're gonna get tweets, but they haven't talked about the officers that committed suicide. At least two, I think 2 or 3 officers committed suicide right after January 6th, and I'm willing to wager that there was some culpability as to what, like if you go into, when we get into the investigation, we're gonna find out that there was maybe some evidence or emails that they were helping out with shit. That maybe they were part of the planning of some shit, because and when the shit didn't go down like they thought it was, because the big whatever they thought was gonna happen, they killed themselves because they thought they were about to be marched in front of whatever and exposed for what the shit they did. Because even now, there's a book that just came out called it's about the Secret Service. And it's something failed. Basically, they can't ever fail. I can't remember what it's called. But they're talking about that they're fucking QAnon supporters in the fucking Secret Service.
Of course there are.
In the Secret Service.
Right now.
The number 2 dude of the Secret Service was a goddamn Trump. He organized Trump rallies. He was a Secret Service agent that Trump liked so much that Trump put him in charge of doing something with the organizing rallies. I guess probably that makes sense because he organized probably shit for the Secret Services on trips and shit for the president. And now he's back leading or in number 2 in charge of fucking Secret Service, or in the top. I don't know if he's number 2, but he's in the top management of the Secret Service. Upper echelon.
Marjorie Greene is in the House of Representatives. How crazy shit.
Marjorie Greene is an elected official, and I can understand having a process to remove an elected official.
Right.
But the Secret Service is that's a goddamn job.
Right.
That's a job that we have to be able to trust you that you are going to do the right thing for the country, not for some stupid shit you believe. And these motherfuckers are like, you can't be QAnon. Just like you can't, okay, for people who maybe don't know this and like, you can't tell somebody they can't have a job. I'll put it to you like this. If you are trying to be a member of the FBI, they check your background. They check your background so thoroughly. They check your credit. You know why? Because you can't have bad credit and be an FBI agent. Because if you have bad credit and you're an FBI agent, you're open to somebody coming in and influencing you or creating a situation where they have power over you because they give you money because you have bad credit and you can't fucking handle money and you're gonna make bad decisions. You're a high risk. You can't be an agent. Sorry, I had a mosquito fucking fly by. You can't be.
You're smacking the shit out of somebody for being high risk. You high risk. Smack the shit out of you, motherfucker.
Yo, high risk ass the fuck out of here. Oh, high risk ass motherfucker.
Well,
CIA is the same way. You can't be an agent for the CIA and have bad credit or have things like that could cause you to be at risk. So
the QAnon just warps away around everything because Trump's investigation going on in New York right now was a civil case. It was a civil matter. They were trying to figure out whether the company improperly valued its assets and its loan and tax purposes. They came out actually now and said that it's gone into becoming an actual criminal capacity as far as the case is going on. And QAnon has just rolled right with it. The sentiment that they've been putting out is, do you realize how much more powerful Trump will be after being falsely arrested? Is actually.
Hey, man, all of this shit is connected. Everything we just talked about is connected. And that connection is catching Donald Trump at the shit he been doing. Yeah. And he is fighting them off better than the Heisman Trophy. They coming, but he keeps slapping them down.
It's a skill for sure.
I
have a small army in this country that is willing to go shoot people.
There is a Bruce Lee documentary called Be Water. And I think Trump must watch that motherfucker at least once a day, like at least a clip of it. Because when the popo come, that motherfucker is water.
Well, it's weird because people go down to Mar-a-Lago, right? Like they say some wild ass shit. Like, I don't know about this Trump guy right now. Maybe he's not a great dude. And then all of a sudden the invite comes, and they go down to Mar-a-Lago, and the minute that helicopter touched down in that Florida land, they walk through some type of a thing, and something hits them, and then motherfuckers come out of there, and they're just like, he's the leader of our party.
The only thing that makes
the fuck
sense
is in the water at Mar-a-Lago, man? What the fuck are y'all doing down there? What type of...
The only thing I can think of that has made sense for the entirety of the Trump campaign or the Trump's existence as a political figure is when he worked with Russia, they had compromise on all the motherfuckers. And it was basically like, oh, hey, Lindsey Graham, why don't you open that manila envelope real quick? And
Trump
then
is
we'll
Red
have a
Reddington
conversation.
from the blacklist. That's what's happened. Trump is Red Reddington. He's N13. He's the
it's
Soviet intel going on with it. Yeah, I mean, here's how crazy people are for him. And like people talk about voting, dead people voting for Biden and shit like that. This dude in Colorado who's suspecting his wife's death actually cast a ballot for Trump in her name. Dude killed his wife. Dude killed his wife and then was like, you know what? I'm gonna need her to vote for Trump as well.
Hey, I'm just gonna put this out here because I want it on tape because I want it on record so I can come back to this clip later. We're gonna find out that that's why he killed her because she wouldn't vote for Trump.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you're gonna get down to in the end. Because there are on Reddit there's a subreddit that's called QAnon Casualties, and it's all these stories that people have about family members and like, leaving my husband, he's gone too deep down the rabbit hole, or had to move out of my parents' home, or like finally my grandmother decided to stop believing in this crazy bullshit, and it's all these stories about like all the craziness that people have gone on. It would not surprise me at all if that's what happened. And it's just, at the end, it's still the same thing. It's the influx you talk about. It's the 400 years, Rob. It's the continuous attempt to try and keep things changed. They're trying to change things in Texas right now. Governor Greg Abbott signed into law one of the nation's strictest abortion measures, banning the procedure as early as 6 weeks, which is before a lot of women even know that they're pregnant, which I find to be really weird because, like, if it's 6 weeks, we're calling it a baby, then, like, at 6 weeks, is it a citizen? At 6 weeks, you know what I mean? Like, is it eligible for health care then? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, when does the child support kick in? When does that have to start getting paid?
Like, that shit, I find it interesting that I think the Texas bill is very similar to the Mississippi bill, and the Mississippi bill is what the Supreme Court has taken up to decide whether or not they can do this. And a lot of people are looking at it and saying, obviously, that's going to go a specific way. And it probably is, unfortunately. Although by the way, can we start a commission to look into what's his Clarence Thomas's wife? Yeah, buying a bus to bring protesters to the Capitol on January Did she just
6th?
buy one? I thought she bought multiple.
Yeah, I think she bought multiple. But Clarence Thomas, who also said he'd like to see Roe v. Wade overturned, which they won't do because they need the capital of the argument. And so what they do is they do this other shit where they just do these little chip away bills that create these little small bits of the argument so that they don't have to get rid of Roe v. Wade. They're going to make it so hard to be if you thought about having a baby, it's already too late. You got a viable fetus. You're going to have to keep whatever happens if you ever have unprotected sex because you thought about a baby once. And so
it's just amazing. Again, man, these people, they're killing you. They're just good at what they do. They tell you that you can't do that. Now, here's my whole position. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. What I care is why you did it and what made you think you had to do it. You understand? I'm not against abortion at all. I would just hope nobody in my family would get one. But if it's an option that's viable for you, you should be able to take it. And it ain't nobody motherfucking business. That's number one. But what they actually do is just so beautiful. Because the fact of the matter is they don't really care about any of that shit. What they try to let you know is you're going to do what the fuck we tell you to do. You're going to do what the fuck we tell you to do. And that's exactly what this is. It's just so, I was like, man, because every time there is a question of the 14th Amendment, they find a way to dance away from it. You're going to tell her you don't want her to do that, but you don't want to help her take care of the kid. You're cutting food stamps. You're making it hard for the child to exist. And then you killed his father last week over some shit you said he did.
They don't want to pay no money. They don't want to pay they don't want to pay nobody no money. They don't want to make childcare possible. They want to fight against universal pre-K. They want to fight against universal medical care.
But what would they tell you? What would they tell you? They would tell you, well, if you can't keep the baby, put the baby up for adoption.
Right. So who could have it?
Well, you know. Need we say it?
I will say this: jobless numbers are down. Jobless claims are at a big time low. They came in lower than they were expected to be, which is good. People are taking jobs. It's been an interesting time with the whole unemployment thing. There's new stimulus payments coming. I think there's another 3,000 coming for people somewhere in here, depending on your situation. So this is pandemic low we're back at. We got pandemic low. If you got a kid you're dealing with, you got some more payments coming, which I think will probably make Biden and them look good.
Yeah, that's one of the things that like I have been kind of when people were like they're gonna win the midterms in 2022. Man, that care package that they passed in March, that's gonna go a long way, because one of the things that Republicans said that people didn't give a fuck about, they thought was going to make an argument. They thought people were going to dislike about it. A lot of the shit that was in that care package doesn't even kick in until like the end of this year or the beginning of next year, as far as payments and shit like that.
Tax
for
breaks
people.
and shit.
Tax breaks and stuff like that. And when you put more money in people's pockets, they have a tendency to have a better fucking viewpoint of you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just like the tax breaks, just like the fucking reason why Republicans just keep talking about tax breaks. They like, people don't give a fuck about the percentage of the tax breaks. They just know that they got a little bit more money than they used to get. And if you do that on another side, because you're sending them an actual check, and they know they're getting that actual check because of something the Democrats did, that's gonna make it harder for the Democrats for the Republicans to make them the boogeyman. Now, there's a gang of racist motherfuckers that's just, go vote how they gonna vote. But the middle motherfuckers that they need to tie to the racist motherfuckers to get over, to win, they ain't gonna have them.
Okay, so this is why I'm stretching this shit, because I'm finna tear this shit apart real.
Hotep! It's Robbie's
Hotep moment.
Brought to you by Black People shit. Yeah, Black People shit. The stuff that y'all don't know.
Brought to you by Paul Mooney. Rest in peace, Paul Mooney. We're gonna have a Paul Mooney moment from Rob, the official Paul Mooney moment from Rob Hines, ladies and gentlemen.
This is why the government ain't shit and don't none of that shit matter. They don't give a fuck how much money you give the fuck away. It's not going to matter, and they are going to take the House. Mark the tape. And here is why they're going to take the House. Because they decide what a district is. They decide what a district is. So that everybody, they're going to put all y'all black ass in one district. Don't matter how snake-like it's shaped. And you're going to get less representation. Exactly what they want, and it's going to stay minority rule for a little while longer.
That's right. You got to move up and out. You got to spread out. What they're trying to do in the meantime is we're seeing because people are getting back out and they're getting back out there. You're seeing some inflation in certain areas, like grocery costs have shot up a little bit. Some of it makes sense, right? Like Hertz wasn't renting a lot of cars last year. And the way that used car companies largely exist on is they buy year-old cars from Hertz's fleets and from Avis and all these other car companies, right? Like those Hertz, Avis, and all those places, they get new cars. They buy new cars from the dealer. And so that inflates dealer numbers usually a little bit. And then they keep those cars for like a year, get them all beat up, whatever. And then they sell them to the used car place and used cars sell them. Well, Hertz wasn't renting no cars last year. So they weren't buying no cars. They weren't selling no cars, used car lots. So now if you're looking to buy a used car, prices are up about 10% over what they were last year, right? Mm-hmm. So your $10,000 car is now $11,000 now. That's what you're dealing with. If you try, and now a lot more people also need cars because there's a lot of people who are like, I ain't getting on no fucking bus. It's after a pandemic. Fuck you. I'll go in debt to not have to go on a bus if I have to. But their buying power has been lessened because of that. Grocery prices have gone up, steak and shit like that. But some of that is because people are back to transporting around. Transportation costs are going up a little bit. But the thing that they can't really figure out right now is how much of that is temporary and how much is going to stay. They just can't figure it out because it's so early on in the process. People are just getting their second shot. People are just getting back on the road. It is summertime, so gas prices kind of go up anyway. So like, and
there's also
out there.
Yeah, there's also some bullshit. There's something I didn't say. We talked about it last week, and I know this is gonna sound like a conspiracy theory, but if anybody wants to challenge me on it, hit me at XL Comedy. I got shit to back this shit up. I'm just not gonna bring it all to the show. I'm sorry. I actually don't not sure 100% sure the hack that happened last week was even a real hack. The more I think about the shit, because a year ago, oil was so inexpensive that you had to pay a motherfucker. You had to pay people. I mean, the people
that shit was breaking $1 again. It was back down to like 99 cents a gallon at one point.
Yeah, the distributors, the petroleum distributors, had to pay people to take the barrels of oil. That's how bad it was. And even though it got down to $1, the shit you could get a gallon of gas for 18 cents. That's how much it was costing the gas station, 18 cents a gallon. So we should have had like 50-cent gas, goddammit, and we never did. My point is our reserves never actually got low. So when that hack happened last year, we should have had plenty of fucking reserves. We should have had reserves on reserves on reserves. So it never should have been a movement and a fucking shortage. Because each region, the pipeline ships that shit all across a huge region. Each region should have had its fucking strategic reserves anyway. So it should have never been a problem. But they had to create that shit as a reason to jump up the prices because they were broke last year because the motherfuckers didn't sell all that gas that they had.
Price fixing gas is definitely not new. Price fixing gas is definitely not a new thing. One of the plus sides that's come out of it though is that because of the stimulus package and because of the job availability and the fact that not everything has gone up with inflation, people have been a lot, like rent hasn't really gone up necessarily. There's a lot of other things that have stayed where they are, but people have been a lot more picky about their jobs. And there's almost been a pseudo union that's happened amongst, the public knowing that a $15 an hour job is almost bullshit in most places, right? Like there isn't a McDonald's union, but definitely McDonald's has been like, I guess we got to pay people more than $15 an hour because ain't nobody coming up in this motherfucker for no 15. Just because everybody's like, you're crazy, right? Like there's, I think the McDonald's CEO makes like $8,500 an hour, right? Like,
yeah.
He ain't one burger ain't get no grease in that on him.
Like, he ain't that dude probably.
He don't go home smelling like hamburgers.
That dude probably ain't even seen the inside of a McDonald's since rocks were soft. You know what I'm saying?
See, here's the thing. The only reason I push back, I'm the one that's always push back on no shit, but McDonald's has a McDonald's in McDonald's, like their headquarters. I think you have to walk through the McDonald's.
I didn't say that nigga was even showing. I'm saying that nigga ain't even showing up at the headquarters, dog. That nigga working from a yacht. He working from the Bezos 500 yacht with the smaller yacht inside of it. That's what that nigga. A weird thing.
Everybody whose yacht's got a yacht probably should get shot.
Yeah, right. We could probably dice that up into like a few hundred boats for everybody. You know what I mean? So
if your yacht got a yacht, you should probably get shot. Okay, no.
It's some other shit going on. eBay has banned the sale of adult items. Which I think sucks, man. I mean,
like
anything labeled like sex toys or any of that fetish wear, it's all that shit has all been put in the ban section.
They have the best anal plugs that you can get. Either connection there, they're weighted in a fashion that they give the sense of. I've heard good reviews. Let's just put it like that, okay?
I think it's I always push back against the idea of shutting down these ports. It's one of the things that when people reminisce about Blockbuster, I go, the thing I remember about Blockbuster is how they fucked up video stores that had porn rooms for everybody.
Yeah.
Because Blockbuster ain't selling nothing that was like over a hard R. There was no NC-17. It was just R-rated. So back in the day, before you could just digitally download some shit, back when your internet was like, back when that was how you were doing internet, the only shot you had is seeing some titties.
Well, on TV
was to go to West Coast Video, goddammit, and they fucking
go to that creep room.
You got the room with the beads, nigga, and Blockbuster doing all that shit.
They had beads or those Western doors.
The saloon doors.
Yeah.
When you were young, you'd look at it and motherfuckers like, oh shit.
And it was always really colorful, always reds and pinks and shit.
But I think it's a shame because it cuts down the number of places that, you know, people have to go to look for stuff like that. And, you know, be old enough to teach your people what the fuck is going on. Some super scary shit. There keeps being more and more information coming out about UFOs. It is a continuous, non-stop thing that is happening right now. Even Obama's been talking about it lately. He claims that he asked like what was up, and you know, there's, according to him, there's been no specimens, but he doesn't debate the fact that the shit is out there happening. Whoever the fuck it is, from everything that they're saying so far, they haven't stopped to tell anybody what they're trying to do. They just seem to be showing up and kicking it for a little bit and then being like, all right, this is enough for us. We out. Y'all ain't ready.
60 Minutes and CBS This Morning both had really great, pretty long segments on with fighter pilots.
You can tell we're Gen Xers because we're starting to talk about 60 Minutes.
60 Minutes, yeah. So, CBS Sunday Morning. But yeah, they have fighter pilots talking about like, look, I don't believe in little green men, but I know what the fuck I saw. And that we don't have shit to do that. It's like we got to figure out what the fuck that is because it's a threat. Yeah. Whatever it is, they can do stuff that we can't. Like one fighter pilot described a ship that didn't have any kind of exhaust, so there was no heat coming off of it, and it was mimicking every move that he made to like try to counter it. It started mimicking it, kind of like it was like, oh look, oh look, this is cute.
I'll dance with you.
And then when he tried to make an offensive move, the ship just kind of was like, all right, I'm done with you. It just took off. I can't remember what the top.
Yeah, I've seen that clip because that thing just goes, because he was shocked, just like, there it goes, or some shit like that. It was just like, boom. That thing was just like, I'm done, out. And it was just like, off to the races, man.
Whatever the top notch for American. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing, like, and that's the thing is, so as far as like actual beings, still nobody has claimed to see those. That's just been these like things that are flying. Now, the crazy thing is those could be the beings, right? Like the universe is so weird, and we approach so many things from this human standpoint of like, it's got to work like humans do, right? Yeah, like we've talked about being like, oh, are we just a zoo to them, or like who are these what do they look like, and like they could be any type. Those could be the actual beings themselves. How they interact with the universe may be completely different than us. I mean, it'd be impossible to know.
Dude, you know, the thing that hits me the most is Neil deGrasse Tyson said once, if a planetary system that was just slightly older than ours would mean like a planet that maybe started 100 million years before our planet did, that means their civilization would be literally 100 million years older than ours. So to us, we would look like, if them trying to communicate with us would be like us trying to communicate with ants.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like they're looking at us and they realize that we are living things or whatever. But like the idea of them trying to communicate with us or interact with us is ludicrous because they're just so far beyond what we are, and they are so far beyond what we could comprehend.
Yeah, well, there's also this thing of like the path that our civilization has taken has been one that has been largely based on this religiosity that we have created and built completely off of, right? Like the number of non-believers of a higher power is very small here, but that's just because we happen to go that direction. We could have, and part of the reason why we struggle with levels of extinction is because of that reason, right? Like we are way more caught up in our beliefs and faiths than we do in actual realities of how the planet works sometimes. And that can be troubling for us. But like any other civilization that may have started and been a completely different way would be even further away from us in that regard, right? Like not only earlier, but if they never had religiosity as a driving force in their path forward through time, they may have always been a solution-driven species.
Yeah, they strictly what we would consider science. They could treat, if they treated science the way we treat religion. Although I would argue, well, that's still me thinking from a human perspective. I was gonna say,
even limiting it to those two options is a humanistic thing, right?
Yeah.
There may be some other version altogether that we just can't comprehend, that they have gotten into that we can't figure out. You know, like we're learning new shit all the time. We just learned that mammals actually can breathe through our butts. That's a thing that that's a real.
Okay, that you the only one that was up watching Nat Geo later.
Yeah, because I ain't heard no shit like that.
You gotta explain what the fuck that is.
Actually,
well, you've heard of people talking out their ass, right?
Nigga, that is my job on this show. That is my job on this show.
There's been a number of experiments with multiple mammal species. They say while it's not exactly the most efficient way to get oxygen into the body, mammals appear to possess the ability to breathe through their butts. It's a real thing.
I guess if you can exhale, you can inhale.
I mean, we are definitely able to breathe out of our butts. I know that's a real thing. I've definitely breathed out of my butt.
Man, men will do anything to get a chick to try anal. God damn.
You can breathe in and out there. Let me show you.
You can help you open that hole up.
So I guess you're saying airtight is real when you're talking about that certain.
Wow.
got a little adult dark at the end there.
I'm not gonna do this to me again.
We'll leave one last thing here. As I mentioned earlier today, I did get banned on Facebook for what was essentially a satire. Twitter is actually considering creating special account types for humor and satire accounts, which I think just lets them show how dumb people are, right? Like, we got to protect the dumb people. Let's let them know who might be telling jokes on here versus...
Yeah, but then the dumb people get the accounts, and then we in the same situation.
Yeah, right. They're already planning to create automated and memorial account types so that they can tell which are like if you have an automated account that just automatically does shit, they will be able to source that out. Or if it's a memorial account for somebody who's passed, they're looking to do that. So they're just kind of exploring some of the different ways they're going to go with it, which is not.
Yeah, I wish they would have had that when Herman Cain died last year because that shit was weak. That shit was weird for like 2 weeks. What the fuck is going on? Is you dead or not, nigga?
But he was still talking about don't wear a mask, and this dude was dead of COVID.
That was just the most funny shit to me. I know I'm horrible. I'm wrong.
No, that shit's goddamn weak. Fuck them. I usually do care about people's parents and shit. These motherfuckers still supporting somebody that killed their daddy. Fuck them.
Yeah, they earned all that. And on that note, X, are you anywhere this week? You doing anything this week? You out in the world? You doing shit?
I will be, actually, me and Rob are doing an episode of Code Names Monday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're jumping on Code Names, so that's going to be fun. We're going to be in Canada on the internet. And all over the world, technically, because it's the internet.
Tim Real runs a great show. Code Names Live, right? That's the show.
Yeah, Code Names Live is the name of the show.
Have you played it before, Rob?
I got to play it a Thursday night.
Okay, yeah, it's great.
X and I got to play and found out we were, even though we won, we were kind of hard. It was kind of rusty. It was kind of rough.
Yeah.
I kept making the same mistake he kept making, and we just kept looking at each other like, bad. You know?
It's fun because the host is really playful with it anyway. So even if you fuck up, he's really good about it.
Yeah, because it's a fun game show because there's no real stakes to it. Like if there was money involved, I could see that causing.
There were stakes involved.
I would if there was meat. If there's stakes and there was
porterhouse.
I can see that game causing Monopoly-sized fucking fistfights in the family or something like that. What the fuck? The clue was soccer 3, nigga. Why would you pick hands? Hands have nothing to do with soccer. You know, like I could see that causing some real fucking problems. So me and Rob will be on that Monday. And I actually I'm pulling the Rob Hines right now. I have shows next week. I just don't know what the fuck they are.
Where can they find it?
At XL Comedy.
Rob, what you got going on, baby?
First off, I just want to give Chicago a big thank you and a shout out to the entire city. Thank you for the love y'all gave me last week.
Chicago love shout out.
Man, Brian, dude, man. That meant a lot to me. We sold out, and I really appreciate
Brian
Chicago
Morton
out.
And
Yes, my man. We had a good ass time. Thank you for that. This week I'm supposed to be somewhere like X said. I'm doing what I normally do. Someplace I'm supposed to be on the 26th. I don't remember when. If you're listening and you know me, tell me where I'm supposed to be on 26.
Get to Robert_L_Hines and find all of his stuff there. I want to give a big shout out to James Webb. We shot a bunch of stuff over at James Webb's place this week, and he was gracious enough to let us come and film there. I want to give a big shout out to Ty Riggs too. Came and worked out with us.
Ty Riggs, love shout out.
Yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to Allie for coming and helping out with some shit too.
Allie, love shout out.
And so you can find out what the fuck I got going on. I got dates too. Go to Mocha_Jesus on Twitter and Instagram. Check the pod out at New OGs Pod. Get over to People of Comedy and People of Comedy Network. See all the great stuff they got going on there. That's it for us. We'll catch you next week. That's what's up.
That's what's up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Bitch, you better play your role. I feel like Nelly when